Earlier today, our Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of Obamacare. This is inexplicable to me because this bill is clearly unconstitutional. Because you see, the regulations and the taxes that are within Obamacare are going to have an absolutely devastating impact on America's healthcare industry and on your pocketbook, too. They already are. But this issue is far greater than just health care. Included in the Supreme Court ruling is something called the individual mandate. You've probably heard of it, because upholding Obamacare sets a terrible precedent. For the first time in the history of our country, the Supreme Court has ruled that our federal government can pass a law that requires you and me to buy a product or a service even if we don't want to, and they can penalize us if we refuse to do so. Can you imagine that? That takes away our liberty. In March, I listened to the oral arguments for Obamacare, in part because I was the chief author of the bill to repeal Obamacare. And while I wish the outcome was different today, and I know you do too, I remain hopeful. And I want you to know why. Because our Congress still has the power to repeal this unpopular legislation. And we have an opportunity just short months from now to let our voice be heard again in this country. I want you to know I'm not giving up. I'm committed to repealing Obamacare because every American should have the opportunity to provide health care for themselves and their families, and they should have the freedom to choose the plan that's best for them. Because health care reform should ensure that families and doctors make the health care decisions, not politicians in Washington, D.C. Because millions of Americans are still without access to affordable health care. That isn't good. We know the way forward, but the Supreme Court's decision didn't change that. Americans deserve real market-based reform, not big government, to increase access to the greatest health care system in the world. Don't give up. This wasn't good news, but we are going to fight on, and ultimately, we will prevail.